And am I waiting for
我现在正
translations to
在
come
等
on?
翻译吗？
No, Martin should be okay by now.
大
Good
家早上
morning,
好。
y'all. Excuse the bit of coughing that's going to happen this morning. They are been working on the sewers and digging up the street out front, releasing all sorts of strange
最近有
gases.
施工，所以
I
有很多
suspect,
奇怪的
and
气
it's
体，
definitely among them is
所
something
以
that
呢，
I am
我对
allergic
此有一
to.
些过敏。
So there's a bit of snorkeling going on. Life is full of
但是呢，生
allergies.
活就是有这么多的意想不到的意外的事情。
This
今
morning
天早上呢，
is an
是
open
一个
question
开
and
放
answer
的问答环节，
where all those
我们
odd
都
bits
是
about the Dharma that you've
对
wondered
法有
about,
所
you get to ask
思
a
考，
lot.
有所问题，所以呢，你
So
们可以
begin
问我问
typing
题。
in as
那
I
你们
set up the
在
ceremonial
写问题
beginnings
的时候，
of invoking
那
the
么
lineage,
我在给予回答的时
so
候呢，
that
我
when
们
I
来
have
唤醒
finished
相
that,
应的法的传承。
we'll have some good
也许我
questions
们
to
会有一
work
些
with.
好的问题，
Any
任何的
subject.
主题，
Yeah, you don't
或
even have
者
to stick to
你不
Dharma,
一
but I
定
don't
要
guarantee I can answer
问关于法的
non-Dharma.
问题，我也不一定会回答关于法的问题。
Check on my mic,
Yes.
because I've got it in a good spot for me, uninterfered. The camera's aimed right where I want it.
Yeah, no, I am checking sound on
Sound is up, I can see the bar.
Try it again and let's see what we...
Testing,
Oh, sound
1, 2,
is
3,
good.
testing.
All right, now we have sound is good.
Okay, let me say that again. It's question and answer. Anything you've ever wanted to ask a Lama. There's a Lama sitting here quite happy to answer all those questions that I know the answer of. And I'm quite comfortable with saying, damned if I know, to the ones I don't. And there will be some, because I don't know everything. The universe is vast beyond knowing.
所以大家有任何的
Not
问题
just
都
this
欢迎
one
来
piddly
问我
little。
这
planet
个
with
宇宙呢
humans,
是非常广大的，不仅仅
animals,
是关于人类、关于动物、
demons and
关于恶魔、
gods,
关于神灵、
ghosts,
鬼魂，
and all the
还
little
有
things that
所
live
有
around
的
here.
微小的生物生活
But
在宇宙上的。
billions of other
但是呢，
planets
有
and
百
stars,
万的植物啊，有
and
行
it's
星啊，
all
有各种
alive.
各样的星星啊，它们都是具有它们的生命。
So
所以
obviously
呢，
I
非常
don't
明
know
显
all
的
of，it.
我并不知道所有的问题的答案。
We'll stick more
但是
or less
多
to
多
kind
少
of
少
sort of
的
this planet and Homo sapien stuff.
关于我们人类的一
But
些
you
问题
can，ask about
那
other
你
stuff
可以
too.
去问我这些关于人类的问题，你也可以问一些其他的问题。
In the beginning of
在
all Dzogchen
所
texts,
有的大圆满的
Guru Yoga.
教授之前呢，
Guru Yoga is
这个
not
开
Lama
端是
Lena the
上师瑜伽。
personality.
上师瑜伽
Guru
不
Yoga
是一
is
种特定的
all
人格。
Buddhas of the 4 times.
上师瑜伽是4种时间里的所有的佛性。
Guru Yoga
那么上
is
师
the
瑜伽呢，
culmination of Bodhisattva.
是佛性
It's the
的
by your
本质。
bootstraps instinct
是
of all Buddhas to be
所
as
有的
such all Buddhas, thus
佛
gone
教
gone
徒
beyond.
要成为过去的所有
It's
佛
not
的
a
一种
religious thing.
共同的
It's not
本
doing
质，它
anything
不是
I
一种
tell
宗
you,
教的
even if
东
I
西，
tell you to stand on
它
one foot
不
and stick your
是
thumb
说
up your
我
nose.
教你做什么，做这个做那个，它是
Finding your way
寻
to
找
expand
一
your
种你
attention
自己的方式来延
through
展
the
你的存
instructions
在，
of the lineage and those
通
who
过
have
这
gone
种
before
传
and
承
those
的
who
教授，
are going now and those who will have gone someday. Fourth
寻找
time,
到
past, present, and future being
根据这种过去的、
irrelevant
现在的、未来
constructs to
的
this.
教授
It
去
is the
寻找到
by
你
your
的佛性。
bootstraps instinct of all Buddhas to be as such all Buddhas. And you are among them.
它是在这种各种各样的之中寻找到你的佛性。
And the little tiny critters that live in the hair of your eyebrows and eyelashes. Chuku kunduzombo gombo ye Dorji sempa garab dorji dang Shere singe bardu shin labde De dang mabzang tatatu sum chi Zog chen jupe lama la solua de Again pema junela solua de Dorji chang chi chelo narudang Marpa mila gompo tsatapa Na pupadang palden drupa sok Kargyu lama namla solua de O chen lama namla solua de Ndru chen lama namla solua de Yung drong dang yendu lama namla solua de Pa kondu zhong dang yerme pa Gun garab dorji shin trad pa Jetidang nisume pai Pa lamanam chetente chong I had a dream the other night.
有一天晚上我做
I
了一个
dreamed
梦，
that I went forward in
我
time,
梦到我超越了时间
and in that
我走到了
time,
时间的前面，在那个时
I
间里
was
呢，
well remembered in the mythical
我
stories.
被
But what
一
was
个神秘的故
remembered
事所忆起。我记
was
得
how
的是
much
什
I
么呢？
like my coffee. Nothing to
是
do
我
with
有
the
多喜欢
Dharma,
我的咖
nothing to
啡，
do with what I'm pointed at,
跟法
pointing
没有
at.
任何关
Just a
系，
small aspect of my
跟我所指出
personality.
的东西没有任何关系，
And so
只
it
是我
was
人格的一个小
remembered
小的部分。
that
所以呢
coffee，
它被记住了。
wakes you up.
这个咖啡呢，
And so all these lineage students were running around
所
with
以
eyes like
所有
pinwheels,
的
drinking
传承的
copious
学
enough of
生到处
copious
跑来
cups of
跑去，
coffee, in the belief that coffee woke you up into Buddhahood.
他们喝
It
咖
does
啡。
not.
这些学生认为咖啡可以
It's
唤
not
醒
the
他的佛性，
personality. It's the
并不
personality
会
that likes the
唤
coffee.
醒他们的佛性。这是一种像咖啡一样的人格。
Very, very much. But the coffee isn't what gets you enlightened. It's just what gets me awake enough to talk to you.
咖啡呢，并不是使你开悟的东西，它只是让我能够
Have
和
we
你
any
们讲话的一
questions
种东西。
Oh, yes, we do.
我们现在有没有问题呢？
Let's see.
是的，
As
有
a
问题。
devout Dzogchen practitioner, am I permitted to wear a shawl? Or is there
作为一个大
additional
圆满
things I need to
的
do
修行
to
者，
be able to wear one?
This particular
我
stripy
应该
shawl
穿戴着纱
with
吗
the blue-black lines
还是
within it
说我？
and the red and the white
那你看一看
has
这个特殊
tantric rather
的
than
衣
Dzogchen
物，这个就叫
symbolism.
做纱。
What the hell do you mean
更多的有
devout
谭崔的这
Dzogchen
种符
practitioner?
号意义。
Devoutness has to do with believing in something.
你说
Don't
你是一个
even
非常虔
believe
诚
in
的
Dzogchen.
大圆满修行者。
Dzogchen is an idea,
虔诚
a
代表什么？虔诚
method.
代表
Don't
非常的
worship it
呃
any more than you should worship my
非常
friggin'
的非常的
coffee.
投入的去相信它。你
Practice
不要
it
去
will
相
correct
信任何
points.
事情，包括大圆满。
So the shawl has to do
你要去
with
通过
having
修
had
行，它
tantric
去找到它
ordination,
的
not
要
Dzogchen
义。
ordination.
所以呢，这个烧呢，我
If
们
you
在穿着，
also
它
are a
是有一
tantrika,
种
whether or not
谭
you've
崔
reached the level
的
of Lopan,
传
but you
统。
practice
那么，
tantric
如果你
work
是一
with
个谭崔的
symbolism
修行者，
as a way of guiding the
你通
mind
过这种符
below
号的形
its
式
level of
来修
conscious
行
intellect
谭崔。
towards
那么，你
innate
通过
open
这种修
awareness and the
行，使头脑
recognition of
超越
that.
了意识的层面，
And
你打
having
开了
had
这种意识，
tantric
唤醒
ordination,
了这种
which
觉悟。
simply involves
那么
attending a
你
high-level
有一
Maha
种
Anatara
谭崔的
walk,
传统，
whether online or not, as
包
we
括
think
一
these
种
things do
非
transmit.
常高级的玛哈塔纳
They
沃
may
尔。
even can on CD. We don't know. Too soon. Too recent a development. Having had that and taken the tantric precepts, and following the tantric precepts
如果是
according
你
to
有
the
这种谭崔
explanation
的
which has been
修行，
explained to you by your
那
teacher,
么你
and
通过这
which
种修
includes
行
your
达到了一
understanding
种
of what
解
is
释，这个
meant
解
by
释是
them.
需要你老师给你的，也包括了
Give you an example.
你知道，你真的知道这种解释后面的意
One
思
of
是
the
什么。
tantric
我给大家
precepts
举一个例子，
is not to harm the body, for the body
谭崔的修
is the
行的一
form
种
of
呢
the yidam.
是不伤害身体，
So some
因
people
为身
take
体
that
就
as
是
never
yidam
cutting
的
the hair
一
of
种
the head or
形
the
式，所以
fingernails,
呢，有些人
because that
就
to them is
从
a
来
form
不
of
剪他们的
harming
头
the
发或
body.
者是指甲，因为对
Personally,
他们来说呢，
I
剪
don't
头发、
take
剪指
it
甲
that
就是伤害
literally,
身
and
体
I
的一
do
种。
trim my
那么个
fingernails so
人
that I
来
don't
说呢，我
scratch in
认
my
为
sleep and
我
tear
并不
myself
文字
up.
性的认为这个是伤害
And
身
if
体
my
的，所
hair
以我不会
becomes
不剪
scraggly
指
with
甲或者是
split
不剪头
ends,
发。
I do give
所
it
以
a
呢，如
trim.
果我的头
I
发
do wear it long
有
because
分
that
叉
has，certain
那我就
symbolism
修
among the
剪它一下，
Tibetans, and they would be uncomfortable with me.
穿着比较长的
Should
衣
I
服，
wear
但是
it
它是有
short?
一种符号
But
性的意
this
义，
robe,
但是它们是很舒服的，
it
对我来
would
说。
to
那我如
them
果
symbolize an
穿剪
oxymoron,
比
things
较
that
短的
didn't
呢，
make
比如说
sense.
这个袍子，
And since I have a
这
number of
个
Tibetan
对
students
他
as
们来
well,
说，
and wish
如
to
果
make
赋予一
sense
种
just
道
as
德
much
性的意
sense
义，
to
就
them as
没
I
有
do
什
to
么太大
you.
的意义了。因为
I
我
let it
有
grow
一
long,
些
even
西
though
藏的学
personally I
生，
think it would be a lot more
对他们
comfortable
来
if I kept it
说，
about
我
an
穿
inch
什么
long.
也
But
算
then
是有
they
意
think I
义
was
的。
a celibate
对我
nun,
个
and
人
since I
来
don't
说呢，
act like a
我个
celibate
人
nun,
觉得穿长的比较舒
that would
服。
cause conflict.
但是呢，对我来说，我不是一
So, if
个
you have taken
仪
the
式，
tantric
所以我也
precepts and
不
follow them
必要
according to
去行
your
为像一个仪式。
understanding,
所以，如果你要咨询谭崔的教授，
then you
然
have
后
the
呢，要
right
根
to
据
wear
你
this
自己
robe,
的理解去遵照他们。
provided that you have taken
你是有权来穿这件袍子的，
going
但
beyond
是
and
需要
beyond
你
that as well. Coming together with
是在一
recognition
种
of
超越的情形中
your innate
去
Buddha nature
存在
as
的，
what you are
就是你
for
要
in
去
this life,
认知
even
到
though
你
you may
内在
also
的佛
cook
性，
food, do laundry.
就是你这一生是为了什么呢？你这一生为了什么呢？你当然你也要做饭，你也要洗衣服，你也要做
I
其他
have
的事
found
情。
many people
如
who
果你
have
能够认
taken
知到
tantric
这个终极
ordination
的这
have
一点，
not
那么你就
received
可以穿这
appropriate
件衣服。
teachings
我
on the
发现有
tantric
很多
precepts
的
and have
人
weird
收
ideas
到
about
了
what they
谭崔
mean.
的传授，但是没有
Would
接
you all
受
like me
到
to do a Zoom
正
retreat
确的谭崔的教授，
on the
所以他们有
tantric
一些非常
precepts, which
古
will
怪
be
的
only
想
for
法。
those who have attended a
也不知道他到
Mahamanatara
底的
Wam
意思是什么，
and
所以呢，
hold
我
those
会在
precepts.
想
So if you
去
haven't
举
done
行
that and
一
you
个
want to be in that Zoom
Zoom 的
retreat, then I strongly
研究，
suggest you
那么
do
指导
that
大家。
first. I think that may have answered
所以
your
我
question.
强烈建议大
Yes.
家先来参加这个 Zoom 的
Next.
隐修的建议。
Candro Nyando. Rhymes, doesn't it? I like that. Candro Nyando is reading the questions as they come up to me, because putting on and taking off my reading glasses so that I can see the little tiny print in my iPad is distracting.
If one is able to rest in Rigpa,
因为看
should
问
he
题
or
又回答
she
问题
just
有点
focus
分散
completely
注
on
意
that
力。
practice? Or is it helpful to do other practices?
It's not a bathrobe. One size doesn't fit all. For some people, it is quite helpful to do other practices because they
如果
synergize.
一个人呢，
For other people, doing other practices just annoys them. And there is no point in
对
it.
于其他的人来
So
说，
look to yourself. You're a rational adult, well trained in the Dharma if you've gotten
所以
to the point where you
看到
recognize
你自己
Rigpa. And just go gonzo for it, and that means using all methods which are useful to you. Even reading sutras, if that helps keep you inspired. Next, that was an easy one. Not that I particularly answered it for that individual.
下一个问题，
There is no one way to practice. These are maps. If you're standing in Paris and you're standing in Timbuktu and somebody else in Hong Kong or Holland or Colorado,
在香港的某一
you
个人呢，
don't use the
或者是在荷兰的
same
某一个人
map
呢，
to get to
或
Lhasa.
者在科罗拉多的某个人呢，
You need a map that shows
他
the
们不用
path
同样的
right
地图
from where you
去拉
are.
萨。你需要一个地图
And those maps
指
will
指
differ
导你，就是在你在哪里的
according to
基于
what
你在哪里
objects,
来指
hang-ups,
导你
neuroses,
应该去哪里。那么这样的地图是不同的。
background, cultural phenomena you happen to have stuck to you. Next.
背景的文化的现象的
Is
有这么多的不同，
ordinary
会导致
awareness
地图变得不同。
That would depend on what you mean by ordinary awareness. The ordinary
普通的
awareness
问
of
题啊
Joe，
普通
Schmo
的知觉是本觉
who
吗？
goes to
老马
work
雷纳
and
说，这个
raises
决定，
his
这个取
kids
决
and
于
is
你认
constantly
为
looking
普
at
通的
this or
觉
that to
觉
get the
知是什
mortgage
么。
paid,
普
deal
通
with the
的觉
dentist
受
and
呢，
orthodontist
比如
bills for the
说
kid,
你
save up
的
for
这个意
college,
识
try to
不
keep his
断
head
的在
above
追求这
ground,
些琐事，看看
not
你的
fight
房
too
贷有
much
没有
with his
还，
wife,
看你的孩子怎么
have a
样，
beer. That ordinary
看看你的
awareness,
浴
no.
室的地有没有擦，
That ordinary
不要
common
跟老婆打
awareness
架、喝啤酒。这个
is
普通的意识不是本觉，
marigba, obscurations.
这是
Too damn
普通
distracted
的
by things that
那么
make
普
noise
通的
and
这
bubble
种
and things
常
you
见
want
的
and things you don't want
觉知
to rest in rigpa. However,
是什么呢？
however,
是没有什么去
when
看，
you
没
are
有什么去
resting
做，
in
没有什么
rigpa,
让你目瞪口呆的
it
事情，
feels completely ordinary.
它就
Nothing
是
special here, nothing to look at, nothing
就
that
是
makes
它
your
本
eyes
身
bug out and your mouth drop open.
魔法，
Nuh-uh,
是一种对于
it just
不
is.
断的时间流逝中的投射与觉察，它是
Magic.
非常非常自然的。
The cities as they manifest from time to time, and they do,
那么如果我没有完全的
it's
回答你的问
completely
题，
ordinary.
那你可以用其他的语言去，其他的词语去问。
Next.
因
And
为你不
please, if
在
I
我的
did not
面前，所
answer
以我
your
看不到
question
你的
completely,
脸，所以看不
ask
到你是
again
在
in
点
different
头还是
words.
摇头。
Ask what I missed. You're not
你
right
教
in
破
front
瓦
of me.
法
I
吗？
can't actually see your
不
face
教
and
破
see
法，
whether
我
you're going like
不
this
是
or
很擅长破瓦法。
like that.
有一些破瓦法的老师，
Do
比
you
如说
teach
Chuck to
poa?
Kanjo，
No, I'm not that good at it. I
他
refer
在
out.
南美
There are
生活，
POA
还有其他的人，
specialists like
他们是很伟大的专家，关
down
于
in South
这
America, I
个
believe
特
she
定
is,
的非常好的教授们，
and others who are great
你要
specialists
从
in
某一个
that,
人
and I
去
think
学
for
习
those
这个 POA，
particular
必须是他们
specific
最喜欢的一
excellent
种法，
practices,
因为为什么呢？因
learning
为
them
他们
from
对这个法
someone
的
for
喜爱
whom
和热
that
忱
is
会
the
传递
favorite
给你，它也
practice
会激发你去
is
更好的
important
练
because
习
their
POA
love and
这个法。
inspiration of
破
that
瓦法
practice
并不
will
是我最
transfer
喜
to
欢的
you
一种法，所以
and
并不
inspire you and
并不
help
是这
you
样
to
的，
practice
所
it
以
better.
我不怎么教破瓦法。
POA
那么
is
但
not
是比如说
my
Tumo， 我
favorite
是
practice.
练习它的，
So no,
但
it's
是
a
呢，
specialty.
因
Like
为我没有通
Tumo.
过传承的最后
I
一个
practiced it,
考试，
but
我就
since
不
I
教授
never
它。
dried the
但是呢，
7
有
or
一个
9
很伟大
sheets,
的
depending on
空心木
lineage, I never
在
passed the
Tuscany，
finals on
是一
that.
个地理位置啊，在
I do
它的名
not
字叫
teach it.
Chamba，
But
他今
there's a
年80岁，
wonderful
他是非
yogini
常非常好的一
in
个 Tuma 的修行者，
Tuscany
所以你可以去他的他那里去
called
让他教你。
Yogini Jampa. She's in her 80s
他
now.
有一
Damn
个
good Tumo
小小的
practitioner. If you can
好啊
get to her and get her to
他
teach you that. Wow. She had a little powwow
有一
back
个
in
有
the
一个人
day.
去找这个
He
空行
must
母
have
去
been
学习
all
啊
of，
通过
17 or
空行母的教
18.
授
She's in her
这个
30s.
人可以
And she taught him.
直接用
He got to the
直接
point
去
where he
煮
could
熟一把
boil
豆
a
子啊，
pot
就
of
是在
beans
说一
in
个
his
神通。
lap, saving us a great
那么我
deal
也
on
知道
going
有
for
人
firewood.
会，但是他不教授。那么最近的这个
There
Tuma
are
的
others who
教
are
授
experts
是
at that.
在网上有
It's
的，
one
在
of the
本
ones
教
that
的
I
传承
know
里面
but
有教
don't
授的。
teach. Currently, there are some excellent Tumo classes going on online in the
天
Bond
津王
lineage.
者仁波切，
Those of you interested in that, who's teaching that? Who remembers?
如果
Tenzin,
有人知道他的名字怎么拼写的话，可以在
Wangjiao.
评论区写
I
一下。
think it
那
is.
天
Somebody
津
type
王
it in,
后
who
仁波
knows?
切教了
And
很多
somebody
年
type
的
into the chat there
这个
the
Tumo
URL for
的
his
法，
website.
他教
Because
的
he's
非常非
teaching
常
that
好
with。yearly retreats. It's going to take about 5 years because Tumo does. So if that's the one you want, go to him. He's way good.
那么关
Drive
于
the
到我们
sheets.
的
Passed his finals.
When it comes to our personal practice malas, should we keep them on our shrines or on our bodies throughout the day?
On your bodies. Now, sometimes you have a personal practice mala that is dedicated to a particular
Yodoshihou.
archetype.
关于
And these are
就是我们
kept
这个
in a
念珠应
bag
该
on
带
your
在哪里？
shrine.
可以放在你的身体上。那有很多不同
Sometimes,
种
for
类的
instance,
念
if you
珠。
are doing a very fierce
如果你想
archetype,
要一
it's a
种更
Rudraksha
加平
mala.
静的状
They're
态，
rough, nubbly, or cut crystal.
可以选择一
Whereas
种
if you're
更加
doing a more peaceful
柔软舒
archetype,
服的念珠，因为
such
它
as
这种
Tara or Chenrezig, it's a
它的纹
smooth
理和
mala.
质
This
地
is
给你
because
带
of
来
the
的平静的感
effect
受。
of the tactile on your psychonervous system while doing the practice. So sometimes specialized malas, a mala used for
但是你
modes,
每天用的这个
oracles,
念珠呢，是必须是你
these
非常
are
容易
kept
拿到的。
on your shrine
所以
in a
就是在你
silk
想念
bag.
咒的时候，你可以很容
But
易
your
地拿到这
daily
个念珠。
basic practice mala should be where you can get
或
at
者
it.
是有事情吓坏到你的时候，你可以很快的把这个念珠拿起来。
In case something
如果
freaks
你
you
跟
out
你的
and you
念珠
need to
去
grab
念咒，
for a refuge quickly.
只要你摸到
If
它，
you've
它就
done a
会
lot
让
of
你觉
mantra
得
on
比
your
较放
mala,
松。
it will be soothing to just even touch it when you run into something bigger than your practice.
你最
And
喜
you
欢咖
will,
啡的牌子是
because
什么？
there's always something
Verona.
bigger than you are. Next.
我不知道
What is
它
your
是一
favorite
个
brand of
牌子
coffee?
或者是一种咖啡豆
Valrhona.
的混合。咖啡 Marona，
I don't know if it's a brand or
它
a
是黑
particular
咖啡
mix of
是
beans. It's a very
Like
mellow
Cafe Verona.
烘焙过的，
Cafe Verona.
但
It's
是
a
没
very
有过度的
mellow,
烘焙。
dark-ish
它是
roast,
美国中
but
部的一
not
种咖啡，
burned,
有
and
很
it
多人非常
lacks
喜
the
欢它。
sour overtones
有一点
that
苦，
certain Central
但是我喜欢
American
咖啡里面有
coffees
点
have
酸。
that some people really like. I don't mind bitter, but I avoid sour in my coffee.
一个人怎么让身体放松，从而让他能很长的时间的舒服的坐着？这个取决于你的身体，取决于你的年龄，取决于你的身体状态。
Depends on your body. How old are you?
你的这个体
In
型
what
怎么样？
condition are you?
是不是
Do
很
you
胖？
have fat
很
thighs?
胖的人，这个做起
Fat
来
thighs
要
don't
比
go
瘦的人
into a
做
full
的难
lotus
一
very
点。
well.
所以呢，
Requires skinny
第
thighs.
一个问题是要问你
Plus
的
youthful
身体啊，
flexibility.
怎么样才能有
So
效
the
的
first
坐着？
point is being
当我在年
honest
轻
with
的时候，比
yourself.
较
What
瘦的时
position
候
will， your body really do effectively? When I was young,
我可以
and
坐
skinny,
在一个坐垫
as one
上一
often
整晚，
is while young
甚至
and
是坐着
living
睡觉。
wild, I was
现在
able
呢就
to
不行
sit
了。
in a full lotus all night.
我也许
And
呢，
even
我
sleep
可
in it.
以去撑
Now,
坐，但是我
no,
太胖了，我做不了。
I can
而且我的
maybe
年龄
get
也大了。
into a full lotus, but
所
my
以
thighs are much too fat these
最近
days.
呢，
And I got old.
我用另一种姿势去做，
One does.
那取决于我在哪
So
里，取决
these
于
days
发
I
生了
tend
什
to
么事
use the
情。
Maitreya
那么
position
你
or
要
the half
想要
lotus,
擅长一
depending
种坐姿
on
呢，你要去尽
where
量的
I
练
am and
习。
what's happening.
但是
And how do you
在
get
好
good
的
at
跟随
these?
的时候呢，你
Practice.
不能去伤害你的身体，
But as a good tantrika,
所以
you
你
must
要
not
对
harm your
疼
body.
痛抱有
Pain
觉
is often a
知。
signal of harm occurring.
你
So you pay
你需要这
attention
个
to
疼
the
痛来告
pain.
诉你，你的
You
身体
don't
正在受
bowl
到
through
损伤，
pain that is enough
所以你的
to
弹成
say
正在
that
受到
body
损
is
伤。
being
所以你
damaged.
要听从你的身体，你要
Knee
做你能
tendons are
做的事
being
情。
destroyed.
它取决于你要
You
做什么
listen
样
to
的
your
姿
body and
势
you，do what
根
you
据
can.
这
You
样
determine
根据你
which
的身体
position
状
is
态，而
the
不
one
是
you're
你
going
想
to
要
go
成
for
为的那
at
个
this
样
time
子。
in your life
比如
with the
说
body
你
you
要
have,
增
not
重
the
啊，
one
或
you
者
would
是
very
减
much
肥
like
啊，
to
或者是
have.
年轻10岁啊，或者是其他的
If
事
you could
情。
just lose the next
所以
10 pounds or
要
gain the
看
next 10 pounds or
哪样
go back
什
10
么样的
years
坐
or
姿对你比较好。
whatever.
所以
And
你
you see what it'll
如
do.
果需要冥
And
想，
then
需
you
要
practice doing that.
需要一个
And
坐
if you
垫
need
啊，或者是一
props,
个
a
靠垫
meditation
呀，
sash, a
让你身体更加
backrest,
舒服。你用
or
它们也
any
不是
other
在作弊，
accoutrements to
你可
make
以
it
去用它
comfortable,
们。
use them. It's not cheating.
西方人呢
Go
有一
online.
些
There's all sorts of
设计
accoutrements
的坐
available.
垫，让你觉得很舒服
Western
的。
design, some of them are
很多
much
欧
more
洲人、欧
comfortable
洲人在
for
用。
Western genotype bodies. Those of us who are Northern European,
所以
peasant,
这种
not the
坐垫有很
aristocratic
大的一
lines,
种底部，
tend to have
对
big
于男
bottoms
性、
and
女
thick
性来说都
thighs,
很友
whether
好。
male or female. It's a genotype.
当我在俄
I
罗斯的
seem
时
to,
候，
although
人
I
们
am
直接问我，
extremely
直接用俄
mixed
语
and
问我，
bred true for Russian peasant.
身
When
体
I'm
的
in Russia,
样
people
子是
ask
什么。
me directions in Russian. Face
所以这
shape,
种特定的身体呢，
body style.
在基因上来
So
动力来说
that
呢，它需
particular
要一
body,
些特定的支持。
genetically,
是除非非常年轻、非
needs
常
certain
年轻、非常瘦
supports,
的
and
躯
it's
体
not
需
going
要
to
帮
easily,
助。
unless
那我
very
自
young
己
and
是服
skinny,
用
sit
药
in a
物
full
的，我也
lotus.
使用一个很好的椅子
I do
来
use a
帮助我
meditation
的
band.
后背保持直立。
I also use a nice old straight chair with a
在我70
backrest.
岁的时候呢，
And
这
the
个坐
Maitreya
起来是
position.
更舒服的，而不
Because
是
at
说
pushing
这个比
70,
盘
that's a
腿坐
little
着更
bit
舒
more
服。如果
comfortable
你比较
now
严肃，对于
than cross-legged without a
你
backrest.
想做很长很长
If
的时
you're
间
serious
啊，你想很
about
认真地
sitting
做，
long and learning to sleep while sitting up, which is very valuable,
那么你
you
比如
do
说你
want
想
a
做一
gom
种
tree.
特定的
Gom
大圆满的禅
meditation
修
of a，specific kind, Dzogchen meditation.
所以你
Tree
去找一个
furniture
gum tree，gum tree 是一种木制品，
So a gum tree is constructed of wood,
不是
not
金属的，
plastic.
不是石头的，你需要一个木
Once
质的。
living wood, not
它
metal,
有
not
一种
stone.
根据你的身体
Wood
设计的特定的
And it has
方
certain
向。
dimensions according to your body. Each gum tree is built to the individual. The one I have in India was built to my measurements by
有一
Nichung
个很
Dorji.
好的木匠卡钦多基， 他
who
给我做了一
actually
个非
was
常
more
非
the
常好的椅
contractor than
子
the，
他测
carpenter,
量
but
了一
it's
下
a beauty.
这个
And
椅
it
子
fits me
是直角
exactly.
的，
The
在每一个
measurements
侧
are
面的时候
square,
是超过了
twice
指尖的。
elbow to fingertip
如果
for each side. So if this is, do I see a tape measure hanging here anywhere? No.
这个大
So
概是
what's
一
this,
肘
about
高
a foot
的
and a half?
你的测量呢
About.
是在
Now let it
两
go. So
边
if，this is a foot and a half, your measurement is
就
each
是
side
3个
of the
feet 的高
square
度，
will be
3个 feet 的宽度，
3 feet.
高度啊
double
和这个
this.
椅子的背部
The
是
height
一个手
of the
的高
back
度，
will be
超
a
过
hand's breadth,
你头顶的高度。
relaxed hand's breadth,
有一些人呢，
above the top of your top knot.
有一些人
Some
把他们的
people
头
put a little
吊起
shelf
来
on the
啊，
very
就是
top to
对于
hold
特
the
定的一
butter
种瑜
lamp,
伽来
because
说，
for certain
我们
dream
需要用
yogas,
那个丝
that's where
线把
you
他们
want the
的头
butter lamp above
吊
your
吊
and
起来，
behind.
因为
The
它是木
back
的，
is
所以
shaped
你
like your
没
aura.
有
So it's,
所以
but
呢，
because
这
it's
个
wood, you
柄
have to cut it flat.
是
They don't
交
have the
叉的，
band saws to
是
make
大
them
概有
round.
2只手，
So the
它的
top goes
斜度
across and
是
it's
向
about,
下，然后
two
在你
hands.
的肩膀上面，
and then
再
it
超过你的
slopes
肩膀上面，
down, but it
然
stays
后呢，它
above your
直接的向
shoulders
下，
to about
这
here,
个
about a hand above your shoulder,
大小呢，
and then it goes
大
straight.
概是1肘高，
The sides
超过地
are
面的1肘高。
about this much
在前面
above
呢
the
有一
floor
个
of
板，
it.
它可以去
Across the front is a board
放咖啡啊，
wide
特定
enough to
的部
hold
位
a
座位。
text and a coffee cup
这
for
个
me.
座位呢，
It
那现在
sits
我
on the sides
在
and
我
the
的
front.
前
It's
面
all
我可
closed.
以伸展，
Now I have my front so that I can stick a leg out and
然后呢，我
stretch
也
it
可以
due to
把我的
old
手放
age
在上面，
open,
可以把这个
and
相应的文
a
件啊
cloth,
之类的
heavy
放在上
cloth
面。
curtain there to keep the drafts out. That works also.
在这个底部上面的一个毯子，
Your
既不
cushion
应该
on the
太硬，
bottom
也
of
不应该
it
太软，对你的身体来说，
should be neither too soft nor too hard for your body,
它也可以包括一个增高坐垫啊，
and may
在你的手
include a butt raiser
四
above
指
the
高
level
的
of
那
your
个增
legs
高
of
坐垫，如
about,
果你需要的
4
话，
fingers.
那么你做好你
If
的
you
背
need
部，
that, if that helps.
你的腿在
You
你
sit
的
with your
面
back
前
to
交
the
叉，
backrest,
然后呢，你的桌子在
your
你的面
legs
前
crossed
有一
in
杯
front
咖
of you in a
啡，
half lotus.
或者是其他任何你需要的东
Your
西。
table is there for text or
它
coffee or
是
whatever you need.
它不高过1肘
And
高，
it is
你的
not
这个
higher than, the top of your cushion is not
毯子不高
higher
过1
than
肘
one
高，
arm's length above the ground.
这个是避免瞌睡。
This is to avoid hubris.
它是避免这个竞争和比较啊，就你这个喇嘛之间比较谁的座椅比较高，
Don't take it serious.
这是一个喇嘛之间的游戏啊，不要去参与它。
I think that's a pretty close description of how you build it. Somewhere in my copious notes, I have plans with dimensions for mine, but you need to build your own. It holds you upright by your aura at night, but it takes some getting used to. I remember when I was first learning, they first made me a gom tree. It was cobbled together of scrap wood and stuff, but that's fine.
在我一开始
And I was just first learning to sleep in it, and I
我一
would
开
wake up
始
at
睡着了，
first
在早
light in
上
the
醒
morning,
来，
totally entangled like a pretzel with my head in one corner, and I'd peer over the edge, and outside my cave would be a row of 3 or 4 yogis, and a rupees would change hands. They were taking bets on in which corner my head would be found on a given morning when I woke
就
up.
是拉玛雷娜在讲一个过去的故事啊，就是他在睡觉的时候，其他的这个迷失会，修行者女性修行者会开玩笑，就是把拉玛雷娜的头会在哪一个角度啊？他醒来的时候头会在哪个角度？ 其实他就是用这个例子来说明，生活是非常简单的。
My nickname was Monkey, because I would copy anything they did.
这些人呢，教
They
我
taught me
对我
weird
讲
stuff
很
just to see how
多
far I'd go. They
非
taught
常
me
奇
all
怪的
these
事物。
dumplings shaped like penises. The nuns taught me. Said this was traditional. I was making penis-shaped
他
dumplings for
就是说，这
years
些人告诉他们花生
before
的
I
一种吃
realized
法
it，was a joke.
这是一个笑话。
Next question. I digressed. Sorry.
Is it okay to squint when I look at
当
my
我
money?
看到我的头脑的时候，
That was easy. You are not using your eyes to look at your mind. You need to relax the
我
muscles
斜
in
着
your
看可不可以？
body so
这
that
个是
the
不可以的。
chi
就是说，
flows
你要
properly.
用你的
When you
气
squint
去
your
在
eyes,
身
you're
体里
trying
面
to
比
see
较好的
something
传
with
导。
them. You are
通过你
constricting the
的
eyeball channels.
而且
This will
不要
cause
斜着看，
interference.
不要
Don't do
斜
that.
视。
Next.
How do you foresee the survival of Dzogchen on this planet, given the current potential for the disintegration of global society?
It survived
大
last
圆满怎么在这种全球化的环境中生存
Dzogchen
呢？
is 30,000
大圆满
years
已
old
经
at
传承了
least.
3000多年了，
The
在
Zhangzhung lineages.
在
Long before
Right.
Gautama Buddha.
原本
Among
原先佛之
previous
前已
Buddhas,
经
there
有大
was
圆满，
Dzogchen.
所以呢，它让我
This gives me hope. Societies
人的
have
社
come
会
and
就
go,
起起落落有
risen
几
and
千年，
fallen in
通
30,000
过
years.
这种文化的改革
Through
命，
The
工业的革
agricultural
命，
revolution, the
现在
industrial
是有信息的革
revolution,
命。
and now the
大圆满
information
呢，
revolution.
通过它的这
Dzogchen
种真实
in
的本
its
质，
true essence
不来也不去。
does not come and
个人
go.
呢，个人呢是能够
Individual
觉知它的，
beings being
觉知它
aware
来
of
来或者
it
是去。
comes
传
and
承呢
goes.
是被丢
Lineages
了
are
又被找
lost
回来。
and found. Termas are discovered.
大圆满不是
Dzogchen does not even
大
require
圆满
Homo
甚
sapiens.
至
The
不
first
需要
two
人类。
lineage holders of the
前两个
Zhangzhun
大圆满的
Nyendu
持有者，
lineage
甚至不是
were
人
not
类。
Homo
不是智人。
sapiens. The
啊，
founder was
本初
the
佛是
previous Buddha was a
人类，
Homo
但是
sapien,
第一个
but the first lineage holder among
持有
his
者
students was
是一
a
个
La,
拉，第二个是一个鹿，
and the second was a
直到第
Lu.
三个传承持有者
And
的
it
时候
wasn't
呢，
until the third lineage holder arose that the lineage returned to Homo sapiens.
海豚会持有大圆满的传承，
Perhaps the dolphins will
或者
continue,
是章鱼会
or the
持有这个
octopi,
传承。我不知
or the
道
cockroaches.
任何一个这
I
些
have
物种
no
是否
idea if any of these
持有这种
species
传
have a
承，
lineage,
因为我没有办法想
because
象
I
这
am
个语言去
unable
问
to
他们。
speak their language and ask them.
这只是一个星球，
And this is just one planet
在无限的数
among
量
an
的
infinite
生
number
活生生的宇
in a
宙之中，
lively, vital universe.
在一个特定的时
To
间
each
和空间，
specific place and time, it comes and
这个
goes.
传承它来
The
了又
Native
走了。
Americans
在
had it,
美国呢，白人到了美
and then the
国，
white man came. At
我
the
们试图
Cheyenne
去
teacher, we
找
tried to
到
find
能够
inklings
依
of
附
it
于一种教授的
in the
方
old
式。
teachings. There was
有提
mention,
到，
but
但是
not
不完全在
complete.
Crow 的
in the
传
Crow
承上，
lineage,
在就是叫黑火，
the black
是一
fire
种不同的符号，但
symbols,
是
different
传承的
symbols.
持有者呢，
But the lineage holders were
嗯
killed
Delph
off
去了西藏以后，我们失去了
when
很
the
多传承的
Chinese
持有
took
者，
Tibet. We lost
但是
many lineage
有一
holders,
些走龙钦巴
but a，few
他们幸存了，
Dzogchenpa. survived both hidden among the nomads in the far out wilds of Tibet and among the refugees in India and elsewhere. Not many. It's rare. Many more Lopan and Tantrika there are than Dzogchenpa, and few teach the pure Dzogchen. So many I have listened to are teaching Dzogchen light. The preparations, the things that help you with Dzogchen.
但是教纯正的大圆满的就特别的少。
And yet it continues in the texts which point,
传承是依然是活生生的。
and the lineages are living.
我是有一个莫大的荣幸被最后的一位大师教授了我这个大圆满的传承。好了，我看下一个会是谁能够得到这个成就。那我就在等待着你们所有的时候，你们就去得到它。首先，我想提到。 你说的天气光照，就是刚才说到的，刚才说到的那个超帽的法叫天气光照，这个在评论区里后面应该可以看到。这个老师是可以跟他学习的。
Tumo is what you wish to practice.
嘎饶多杰的三句纪要，在。
and available. Next.
In his commentary on the 3 words of Garab Dorji, Patrul Rinpoche says, "Whatever arises is food for the bare ripped emptiness."
Nice translation. Just a
Lama Lena
moment,
正在翻出这
and
个
I'll
藏文版
actually
的
read
经
you the
文去看。
Tibetan of it. Happened to have this text out because I was teaching it yesterday. Let's find that.
应该是嘎饶多杰的原文。
And I think that's Garab Dorji that actually says that, rather than in the commentary, although Patrul Rinpoche says it too.
是经文这个三句纪要里面的一句话。
Be on this page. Oh, in which case it's back here in the 3rd word. It's part of the 3rd word, Zopa. I need a secretary.
好，找这个。 不太容易啊。他说的是什么呢？
Okay, it would take me too long to actually find that
所有
quote to
的
read
事
you the
情，
Tibetan of it.
所有的现
But
象。
what it is saying, everything.
各种现象呢被分为内在的和外在的，但这不是真的。但是我们是这样说的：内在的现象包括你的想法、你的感觉， 外面的现象呢，包括你外面的所有的东西内在的包括想法和感觉，外在的包括你看到的随着时间看到的所有东西。所有的现象。
Rocks, trees, buildings, coffee.
是在头脑里面升起来的。
All phenomena.
它是一种嬉耍和玩闹，它是近光的一种折射。
It is the play. It is fresh fuel. It is the shimmer of the clear light.
通过你的头脑去看到你的头脑。使你的各种的管道都连接起来。
Look at your mind with your mind.
让你的后背坐直。
Align your channels. Get your butt
让
where
你
it
的眼
belongs.
睛失去焦点，让你的肌肉放松。闭嘴，
Unfocus
不
your
要对
eyeballs
你
and let your
在
mouth
自己
rest
在讲任
loosely.
何太阳底下发生的事情。
Shut up. Stop talking to yourself
当
about
把你
everything under
的
the
想
sun.
法放到一种自然的
Put
载
your
体上。
thinking in neutral gear.
这个就是一种开放的觉知。
This open awareness.
让你的头脑在它自己的上面放松，这种自我的觉知包括这种整体，并不是语句，而是这些语句所指向的那个方向。
Not these words, but what they're pointing at.
它并不是一种简简单单的大的东西，或者是没有任何东西。你要看，并且看到。
Look and see.
看到近光的火星是一种
The sparkle of the clear light nature. The clear light nature is symbolic light. Symbolic of the innate alive vitality of that infinite open empty awareness. Which is not infinite, open, and empty, because those words mean that it would not also be, if something is empty, it's not full. If something's infinite, it's not boundaried. And what we are looking at is beyond categories.
都是不是和也不是是的。
As Saraha said, where all ises and isn'ts aren't.
所有和所在。
Without the duality of off and on.
是有生命的，它们是一种
The infinite openness is vitalized, is alive and lively with creativity, and that very creativity is nothing other than the phenomena that arises in mind as mind. Perceptions, thoughts about the perceptions, feelings about the story you told yourself about the sensation of the sense organ interpreted as this and that by mind. All of it.
所有的这些东西都是空性的一种火光。
Shimmering, sparkling emptiness.
在超越了比较之上的光亮。
Light beyond compare.
The
archetype of the Western direction, Amitabha,
生命力的
Opame.
明亮，这种
The brilliance of
恒常，这种
vitality
无尽的光线，无尽的现象。
the infinite emptiness of phenomena. And the freedom of that, the dance of the dakinis, is the fuel and the beauty is the meaning of the bliss.
它也是没有分开的，它跟空性也没有任何时候分开。
Inseparable
看它，
from
去
emptiness.
感受它， 接受它
look,
将这
feel,
种感知的
perceive
所
and
接
transcend
受到的
looking,
东西
feeling and perceiving.
觉
Be
知它，
as
做你
you
自己，
are,
非常广大的、无
infinite,
边的、无
unbounded,
尽的，具有创造力，
lively and
同
vital,
时呢，却不去
creative,
想这被创造之物，
without thingness,
让这种火星的
creative,
跳跃就成为他自己，
and let the dance of
而
sparkle
没有任何需要去
be
提
as
升、
it
去改
is,
变的，
without the
没有
need
任
to
何去
repair
接
or
受或者拒
improve,
绝的需要，任何的一种
without the
现
need
象，
to accept or
它
reject.
就是这
Any
种生
phenomena
命力的食
arising,
物，
for it
是
is
它
the
的
food of the vitality.
是法性的
It
跳跃，
is
是法性在火
the
星
dance of
中的
Nirmanakaya, and when Nirmanakaya in its
在
infinite,
无始
sparkly,
无
shimmery
处的
creativity
一
of
种
no
跳跃，
thing and nowhere,
是法
comes
性的一
together
种
and
展
is
现，
recognized as nothing other than Dharmakaya.
找到这种干净的
Shine
本
of the
质。
clear light nature inherent to it.
那么你在化身的时候，
Birth is given to the
就是
vast pantheon of
你这个化身就
Sambhogakaya,
是
of
无
symbols
尽
of
的
infinite
本质的一种
profundity,
标志，表示
which
什么
mean
事
no
情
thing
都
at
不存
all.
在，就是它其实是并不存在的。
Look,
看着做你自己，
no, be
做你
as
就
you
是
are.
成为你现在正在成为的，
This is the
它并
totality of
没
yourself,
有被分开和
which
生
is
命的
not
整全性、
separable
整体
as
性
it
没
is
有
utterly
分开。
interwoven with the
这种
totality of all
通过
life.
时间和空间的
The intersection of
交
infinite
汇
threads of interaction through time and
就是
space, in which no
本
such
质的
thing
本
as a
身，
thread exists.
这就是一种
That's
教
what's
授
meant by it.
你觉得我会给
Did
你
you
一
think
种
I was
智力
going to
性
give
的
you a
学术性的教授吗？我
intellectual
不擅
scholarly
长这个
explanation?
我可以把你
I'm not good at
介绍
those.
给一个很好的
Let me
刊部，
refer you to a nice
有
Kempo.
刊部他们
There's a
可以
lovely blonde
很
Kempo
高
down
兴
in
的
Santa
去
Cruz
为你
who would
解
be
释
happy to
这些
explain
背后的学术道理，他们对这个
those
非常的
lines
擅
to you in
长
a。scholarly manner. He's very, very good at that.
如果有人记得，就可以写他的
Someone
名
please
字
type in
在
his
评
name.
论
I'm
区
sorry,
里
it's the white hair. Find that names fall out of my mind and seem to re-arise at inopportune moments when I'll be making a
就是
sandwich
我有
or
的时候会
changing the
忘记一些
laundry
事
to
情
the
当我
dryer,
在
and I
做
go,
其他事情
oh
的时
yeah,
候，我会想起来。
Kenpo so.
所以如果有人能想起来的话，
But
可以
it's not helpful like
评
that.
论
So
区里
one
面
of you
写他
just
的名
stick it
字。
up there, please.
下一个问题，
Next question.
如果
What
说
does
一个
it
人有
mean
空行的
when
特质，
someone is
这
said
是
to
什么意
have
思？
dakini qualities?
那取决于说
Oh,
的人是谁。
depends on who's saying it.
如
It
果是
might
一
mean they're
个
real sexy.
年轻的
If
喇
it's
嘛，
a
或者是年
young
轻的
llama
西藏人
or young Tibetans saying that about them.
说呢，可能
It
意思
might
这
mean
个
they
女
want to
性
get
很
into their
性感，
pants.
但是它也意思
It also
也
might
可能
mean
意
that
味
they're
着
not
他没有
trapped in their
获取
intellect
他的智力，或者是
or
感
their
情，
emotions, but slide
说这个人
freely through the world,
由于他自由的舞
inspiring
蹈，
others
在
by
世界
their
上激
dance
励着
of
其他的
freedom.
人。我们记着，
And remember, it's usually the guys who say dakini qualities. The girls
这
say
个 Daka quality
Daka
质量
qualities
是一个年轻的女性
Kanjo
说的
and
啊，就
Pawo.
是说这个称赞男子很可爱，
Pawos are cute.
就是说他们是
They
心
are
灵非常开放的英雄，
Totally open-hearted
有很大
heroes
的一种竞
with a
争
vast
的，
streak of
就是能
competent
够去比较的。
practicality.
有的人是女性的，
Some of them are
这是一种
female.
能量，
It's an energy.
空行呢
Dakinis
是
are
非常自由的。
inspiringly free.
空行的标志是天
The
空，
symbol of the Dakini is sky.
的
The symbol of the
标
Daka
志
is
是
form
英雄主
and
义，
heroism.
是形状和英雄主义。
Form
形
cannot
状呢，如
exist
果没
without
有
space to
空
hold
间
it.
去承载它，它就不存在。
Space
那么
cannot
空
exist
呢？
without
空呢？如果
form
没有
occurring
形
in it.
去衬托，它也不会存在。
Interdependence
就是阴
of yin
和
and yang.
阳啊，也是一个例子，
These are the symbols of the
就是
Dakas
对
and
永
the
富跟空
Dakinis.
行的一个例子。那么也有
And
很
yes,
多
there's
人
just as many people with
是
innies who are Dakas rather than Dakinis as there
有空
are
行
guys with
特
outies
质，
who personify Dakini energy.
带有一种自由。
That freedom. Yeah, I can think of a
如
few.
果你想
Highly annoying when you try to put them in Daka roles because they are not all that good with matter.
有一些人啊，看起来不是很有吸引性，但是他们是非常有空行和
I'm
永
thinking
富
of
的特质的。
James.
我在想
an old
，James
lover.
是我过去的一
Lovely
个
guy.
爱人啊，他
Such
是很可
Dakini
爱的人，
energy.
他有非常非常强的空行的特质。我没有期待他去修正它。
Next question.
First, the Bonpo name, Geshe
当上
Dansong
这
Namgyal.
个是
Yes, that's right.
刚
Oh,
才
Dansong
马贝娜说的那
Namgyal.
个
He's down in Santa Cruz.
学术
And he
性很
must
强
have
的
an
喇嘛
online
雷斯啊，
presence
这个
by
也可以
now. He's
在
got
评
some
论
good
区里面
students
看
who
到了，
probably
应
know
该。
how to do that. And he's an
但是它是一个
incredibly
大圆满的
excellent
学术
scholar of
性非
Dzogchen.
常强的一个看播，
Completely
但是
different
他做
take
的
from
特别
me.
特别的好，跟我不一样，但是他
But
做的特
does
别
it
特别好。
well.
所以呢，你想要更多
So if
关
you
于这些问
wish
题的
more
学术性的回答，
scholarly
你也可以
answers
去
to
问他。
these questions, take them to him.
What advice do you have for a
你对一个
practitioner
人
who has been addicted to
对一个
cannabis
上瘾
for 20 years?
上瘾的修行者有什么建
Addictions
议？
are a trap.
那拉玛雷娜说，
I
上
have
瘾
my
是一个
own.
陷阱啊。那我
At
在早
least
上
I
喝
only
咖啡
drink
啊，
this in the morning. Ish.
我建议你去
I would
戒掉
recommend that you cut
让你
down
上瘾的东西。
till you are only enjoying it on weekends.
我
And
对
I'd
酒
say
精
the
上瘾的
same
人也
thing to
这么说
addiction，to alcohol. But I
但
don't
是我不
always
知道他们
practice
是
what I
有没
preach.
有遵照我的话来做。这个问题是什么呢？
The thing
你
is,
不知道你什么
you
时候
don't
会
know
死亡。
when you're going
如
to
果我在
die.
早上死亡，
If I
在
were
喝
to
咖
die
啡
in
之
the
前死
morning
亡呢，
before coffee,
我可能
I would probably get reborn in a
我
coffee
可能会
plantation
生
in
在巴西
Brazil
的
as a
咖啡
bug,
种植园，变成一个小
following the
虫子，
craving for coffee
在狂
rather
吃咖
than the
啡啊！就
awareness
因为
in
在那个
that
时候我在非常
moment.
渴望咖啡，所以
So
你
you
可以
also
期待这样一种
experience
危险
that
性。
danger
如果假设说你
if
死亡了，
as you're dying
你
you
你
reach
就
for your substance
会
of choice.
随缘往生到一个你的潜意
It
识
could
所
get
选
in
择
the
的东
way
西
of，
但
your
也可能
reaching
是
for the
你选
totality.
择你
So
去
I
到一
would
个
cut
整全的地
down to
方。
where it is a
所以呢，
pleasure,
我
not
建
an
议你
addiction.
如果能切掉
If
上瘾的
you
话，
can,
尽量切掉这个上瘾。
if
但如
you
果你切不掉
can't,
上瘾呢，那有一个
there's a
很
lovely
好的故
story
事啊，关于一个
about
非
an
常老的喇
old
嘛。
Lama,
当
good
他在死亡的时
practitioner,
候，
well experienced.
他的学生在他的身边，
And
支持他，
he was
但是
addicted to a
他
certain
没有办法
kind
死
of
去，
very
但是
strong,
呢，他
very
也
rich,
活不
very
来，
salty
所以他
Tibetan
就
tea.
卡住了。有一个学生
Man,
非
he
常了
loved
解
that
他，
stuff.
就问他，
When he was dying,
这个学生就告诉他，
students around
他们
him
在做茶，你
supporting
最
him,
好
and he
赶
couldn't
紧
quite
去
die,
在茶
but he
喝光
couldn't
之
return
前
to life. He was stuck.
死亡。
And one of his
所以这
students
个
who knew
话
him
呢，就
really
提醒
well
了这个喇
whispered
嘛
in his
关于
ear,
他们的连接。
"They're
所以你
making
如
tea
果
in
在
Dewa
将
Chan.
去世的时候，有
You
一个人在
better
你的耳
get
边
there
低语，
before they run out."
告诉你有一个非
And
常
that
好
was
的
enough to
方在出
remind
现，
him
那你就
of the association.
就是在你去世前，如果有一个人引导你，
So if you are
那
dying
你
and
是可
someone
以的。
manages to be there
但如
and
果
whisper
没有
in
人引
your
导你，那
ear,
就比较麻烦。
they've got a really good
所以
bong going up in Dewa Chan. Get there
上
before
瘾
it goes
是
out.
比较麻烦的一个问题，
You'll be
我们上
fine,
瘾，
but if that
因
doesn't
为
happen,
我
you
们
might have a
是想
problem.
觉得感觉很好，我们就上瘾了，我们就想要
Addictions are sticky
去
buggers,
觉得很好，而不是
and we get
接
them
受感觉不好。
because you see, we want to feel good, and we are addicted to that which makes us
opiates 啊，一种止痛药，
feel
就能够
good
止痛啊，
rather
就是你不
than
喜欢这个痛觉。
accepting feeling bad.
它呢
Opiates
也切除
kill
了
the
对于
fear.
生命
If
的这
any
种
of you
恐
are
惧，
addicted
所以你
to
就可以
opiates or
很
pain
自由的去
medicine,
跳舞。
it relieves pain which you
就
don't
我把
like,
它称为年老人的好
and
朋友。
it
一点点的
kills the fear
opium
of
啊，在
life so
生命
that you
的
can appear
临
to
终之前，
dance nicely.
可使人的感觉更好。但是 opium 的
That's why
上
it's
瘾呢，
called
止痛
the
药的
old
上瘾就
man's
比较麻
friend.
烦了，因为你在临终之前你没有办法去不一定要
Little
得到它。
opium at the end
所
of
以
life
我们做的一个实践之一
can make the crossing easier, but an
在
opium
确切的这
addiction
个修行中的一个实
can be
践中的，
problematic because you
就
might
是
not
去
have
直
it
面我
then
们内心的
and
魔
there.。
你感觉
One of the practices we do
你
in
在没有做你在做 joy 的时候，
and in Dzogchen is to face our own demons.
你的这种
The way
在
you
喝了一杯咖啡之
feel
前
when
这
you
种非常不
haven't
好
had
的
a
感觉
joint.
啊，在有的时候呢，
That ghastly,
看
exhausted,
到你的
drained,
头脑啊，在疼痛之
unfocused,
中看到你的头
clumsy,
脑，
falling
就
over
像是
sensation
看到一
before the
种
first
欢愉，
coffee.
呃，
Sometimes
就像是看到一种欢愉一样。
see your mind in the pain
不一定
as well as in the pleasure after having treated the pain, whether that pain is psychological or physical. There is that which,
当你
it's not a that, so you
在
can't
满
really
足
say
的时
which,
候
but it's the best words I've
有
got.
这样的一个语
There
言，
is that which does not change whether you had a toke
在
or
操控你的感受
refrained。
那
from
你要
having
注
a
意
toke.
到是什么是不来不去的呢？你要依附
There is
于
that which is there
那
when you
个
are
不来不去
craving
的东西，而
and
不是
when you
依
are
附于你
satisfied.
从药物中得到的东西。你要尽量的去
Notice
练
what does
习
not come
既
and go.
要练习见，也要见那
Rely
些时候
on。that
所以就是说，你两者都要练习，所以你
rather
能
than
看
what
到
you
两种
get
方
from
式
the：drug.
你的头发、你的感受、你的想法
Practice
你的感受都被激活
both
了，
sober and
都
stoned,
被这种
so you can find
无
what
论
is
是
the
什么
same
东西
both，
你
ways.
让它让你感
That
觉到
which
更
is
好
not。
这些
affect
东
your
西，比如
mood,
说
your
我在晚上
feelings,
我会
your
喝杯酒，它
thoughts,
会让我觉
your
得更好。
very
有的时
perceptions
候
are
我
all
不做这件
affected
事，
by whatever substance you are
但有时候我也
using to
会
feel
静坐。
better.
在我
I
喝
do
咖
like
啡
a
之
glass
前，
of
我
wine
会
in the
静坐，
evenings too. Makes
所
me
以
feel
我
better.
可以看
Sometimes I just
经
don't do
验、
that.
感受 去重复的让我自己确认，去认知，认知到 生命experience,
perceive,
在英语里面没有这个词，就是中文里面也没有这个词，就是你自己的正确性，所有一切的正确性，生命藏语并不会基于我是否痛苦、不开心，或者是非常不幸福，或者是有没有去浴室上洗手间而改变，就是自我的本性并不会因外在的原因而改变。无论它有没有发生无论外在的事件有没有发生，这个自我的本性是不会改变的。所以呢，你要对这个自我的本性感觉到熟悉，通过享受你的这种上瘾，时不时的去从你的上瘾之中解脱出来，去关照它。你有没有喝酒，有没有喝咖啡，有没有用药，那你自己的本质散离是不被影响的，也不被生活所影响，它不会被现象的舞蹈所影响，它仅仅是法的开放的一种新鲜的表现，它是一种自然头脑的光的反射，没有其他的东西没有疼痛或者是欢乐之类的其他东西，这就是你自然的本性。问题我怎么成为一个大圆满的修行者并得到一个西藏的名字呢拉玛雷娜说，你皈依的话，你可以得到一个西藏的名字。我没有我现在还没有不知道怎么在线上做皈依。我呢会通过 Zoom 这个程序来接受，我可能会通过 Zoom 这个程序来做皈依的这件事情。所以每个人可以得到合适的名字，那我得看着你们的眼睛。所以我可以用 Zoom 去做这个在线的皈依。所以你的问题有两个部分，你通过皈依来得到西藏的名字。我们可能在某个时候做这件事情，我可以给你一个西藏的名字。
So your question has two parts. You get a Tibetan name from taking refuge. And we may do that at some point. And I'll give you one.
有的时候这个太简单了，不是那么的复杂。所以呢，它没有什么花里胡哨的东西，让你觉得很有趣。所以你要对它放松，所有的现象都是火花，它并不是什么其他的东西。你要去尽量的去练习，这就是你怎么样成为一个大圆满的修行者。你只要修行大圆满就可以了。大圆满行者啊，你
practice. That's how you become a Dzogchen yogi.
你能对 moral multipliers 讲话吗？他们怎么运作？为什么
Next.
Could you speak to merit multiplying
并不是一个
How do they
独
work
立
and
存在
why?
的个体，你是一个存在的一部分。
You are not an independently existent
轮
entity.
回和互动之中，你
You
是
are a heap, a pile of resonances
生命跟其他的
of
生命一起
karmic
工作，
formations and
你是被影
interactions.
响的。
You are a complex
在影响别人。
ecology of little critters all working
这种
together.
所有的事物的影响。
You are
它是
influenced.
很难的，而且比较
You
特
are
殊
influenced. You
的。
don't even have a you
就是你要
separate
去
from the influence.
做什么
All
事
the
呢比较难，比
influences
较
of
特殊。就
everything.
是说，你
It
去认
is
知到这种
difficult
模
and a
式，认知到
specialty
内在的模式，认
to
知到这
examine
种不同
the
的位置、不同的时间，它们都非常的不同。
patterns of
不同
influences
的
inherent
发生的事
in
情，
the turning of the
在不同的空间
seasons
时间里
and
发
the
生的非常不同。
locations
所以
in space
你
and
在
time. They're all
和
different.
Vermestral
And different occurrences resonate as different influences in these different.
他在讲西藏的占星学，
So
我
by
们在
working
讲
with
西
the
藏的
very
占星学。
mathematical
他
specialty
懂
of
西藏占星学，
astrology,
但是他不是一个专家。
which I have a nodding acquaintance
提起
with
了
Tibetan
Lama Lena
astrology,
这个默
but
讲，
am no way near an expert. I've known experts.
当他不小心的时候，他可以穿墙，
Old
而
Lama
过。
Lobsang,
所以特定的位置、特定的时间、
who
特定
accidentally
的空
walks
间里
through
面呢
walls when he's
有一
not
种
careful.
回音，在
Old Lama Lobsang is an expert
在
at
这
this.
种生命模式之中呢，
Certain locations in time and
他们可
space
以
have
穿过这种
echoes
特殊的
within the
位置和时间，
mind
这
streams
种
of those
行为的发
life
生呢，
patterns of aliveness that move through those temporal spatial
有更多
locations
的回响，通过时间和空
such
间
that
能够造
actions
成一
done
个更
in
大的、
certain
更
temporal
强烈
spatial locations
因果性
have
的
more
业力性
echo
的事情。
throughout time and space, tend to lead to a louder, greater result karmically. Best I can get to you in English? I could have said that in many less words, I suppose, in Tibetan, but it would just boil down to, well, they're auspicious.
了解我所需要的事情，我就去看这个天文历。有一个学生啊，他很痛苦，
I
他就
use
是
a
很
standard
费
Tibetan
劲的
calendar
去
or
完成
almanac and just look things up when
前
I
行，
need
但也
to
蛮
know.
前行啊，他做的很费劲。
I had a student
所以他
once
数，一直在数自己做了多少，但是一直没有觉
to
悟，
complete the
那他就被
extraordinary
卡住
mantra.
了。他觉
For
得自己也做
years
不
he
了其
struggled
他
to
的修
complete
行，
that.
因为他没有做完这个
Counting
前行，
Never getting anywhere.
他也做不完。
And he was stuck. He couldn't go on to other practices. He didn't feel capable of other
所以
practices
呢
till he'd completed this. He'd said he would complete it.
就
He needed to
查
complete
了一
it. He
下
couldn't get
天文
it
上
done.
的
He
日
couldn't
子，
get barely to even a quarter
查
of the
了
way through
和
in
一
his
个
numbers of
天
all of
文
them.
师查了一下，我们找到了一个时间，
So, checking the
找到了一个
almanacs and consulting with
善恶
a
成
astrologer,
数倍的
we
日子。
found a time
那
where
么我
each
们将
action
它的前行放在这些
was
不同的几天，就是
potentiated
根据月亮去
100,000
计算出了
times
不
by
同的时间
echo.。
我们把它要做的前行呢，
And we
分成不同的
broke
类
down
型，
his
然后放
number
在这
within
些
the time
善
span that
恶
this
成
functioned,
多数倍
which
的
was a moon
日子里
cycle. We broke down
在
his
每
number
每
into
每一
each
个这种
category
特
having
定
a
的
certain
天
number of
他就
days.
去做这
And
个
his
特定的
assignment
前
was to
行。
do one
所以他
perfect
有
session
5天，比如说去做大礼拜，
in each of those days to practice until he got one perfect
就
session
是
with
说他
perfect
在
focus
这
and
一
perfect
天必须
concentration.
完全的专注
So
去
he
做这
had
个
like
大礼
5
拜。
days of
他最
prostrations
终把他的前行
in
做完了
which，he had to get
所以
one
他就可以继
perfectly
续修行。
focused, perfectly concentrated with
所以
awareness
呢
set of prostrations done.
不要
And he
就是
finally got
你
his
从这里
mudra
得到
done
了一个
that
想
way.
法，就
And
是
was
不要
able
去
to
投
go
机性的
on
去做
in
这
his
件事
tantric
啊
practices.
它并不是对所有的人都合
Don't
适的，
do
但
this
是
as you
就是
get the idea. Get someone. This would not work
需
for
要结
everyone,
合外
but
界
it
的环
needed to
境
work for this
根
person
据
at
他
that time
修
and
行的
was
上师瑜
able
伽，根
to
据 这个学生和老师的特质，根据一种逻辑性的现象，在一种特定的时间和空间去做这件事情。就是说大家并不是任何人都可以去做的啊，不要偷心去做这件事情。那么这个位置啊被强调，它藏语里面叫 nace， 所以有一些人指出了时间也被强调啊，这被称为特殊时间。有一些时间呢和对一些事情的影响比对其他事情的影响更为特殊。所以呢，你是能够从天文历上看到这些事情的，因为这种计算，其中的计算和指出这些日子的这个技能啊，是非常专业性的。下一个问题，如果头脑不根据眼睛去看，为什么我们要用眼睛去看呢？在修行的时候。Valena 说，所以因为你是要用眼睛去看，来保证在感知和感知的间歇之间没有间隔。那你在冥想的时候，你要感受到这种自然的流动，就是说你，比如说你在喝一杯茶的时候，你依然在冥想。如果你在做这个事情的时候，你是闭着眼睛去做的，那你很可能就撞上墙了，撞到鼻子上了。所以这个是比较傻的一件事情啊，所以你不要闭着眼睛去做。如果你要闭着你的眼睛去做观修，但是你在做别的事情的时候睁着眼睛，那就会造成一种区别。你在修行的时候闭着眼，在不修行的时候睁着眼，所以它会造成人修行和不修行的区别。我们目的是修行和不修行的时候没有这种区别，所以你要一直睁着眼睛去做这件事情。这个是非常简单也非常实际的。你看到了，在这样的一个情况下，一个人有常识的话，他可以很正常的去生长他的这个青少年时期。所以呢，常识是西藏的喇嘛认为每个人都有常识。人们在方言上，小朋友在方言上玩耍，所以小朋友们他自己有责任，不要掉下去。因为他们如果掉到房檐下面，他们就不仅仅是流血啊，他们还要失去生命。而生命并不是非常安全的，在这个生命中有那么多的死亡的可能性。所以有常识是非常必要的。
On the Tibetan plateau, there are 1,000 ways to die. Common sense is necessary. Life is not safe around here either.
如果从一个房子的窗子里面跳出去是很不安全的。但是如果发生火灾的时候，从窗子里面跳出去就更加的安全了。所以意思就是说，你要根据情况去灵活的做出选择，去灵活的行动。你对狂慧的意见是什么？你见过圈创巴仁波切吗？我没有见过他，但是我修行过一些事物，我做过一些修行，他是很疯狂的。我喜欢狂慧，只要这个狂慧是真实的。我不喜欢那些白痴啊，他们就是假装自己有狂慧。有的时候呢，这个修行者会得到了一个关于狂慧的概念，所以他们想要去疯狂的行动，让人们觉得他们智慧，但是这个是没有用的。但是 这个真的修行者，对于不修行的人来说，可能看起来他们的外在表现是比较疯狂。
may appear crazy to non-practitioners.
仅仅是用腹跟空行的舞蹈的表达。随着它的展现呢，它可能是无意识的去展现的。如果你是故意的去展现狂慧的话，那样是行不通的。但是呢，有特定的一部分的人，我认为他们并不是，我认为一部分展现所谓狂慧的人，并不是真的有这样的智慧啊。好，下面的一个问题。
Next. And let's take just a few more. We're running on for time.
Okay. Is there a practice for the exorcism of pesky spirits in a home or a way to appease them?
Oh, yeah, lots of them. A good smudge will do it. You can do a song. I have taught how to do a song, an offering to the spirits, and possibly even how to do a smudge online, and it should be up on my website somewhere if you'd like to see the text and how that's done. If you don't find it, ask Tasha. She knows where everything is. Tasha is an utter miracle. Runs my website.
应该是说到一个女性的
does it so well.
修行者啊，这一段我没有听清。
Deeply appreciate everything she does.
说到这个女性的法名。Lama Lena 是在称赞这位女性修行者，所以她推荐这个女性。
So check in with her if you can't find it, but I believe I did a teaching on how to do a song offering, which is a way of pacifying and feeding the spirits. If they're not hungry, they're not a problem. Also, be aware that they like to live in nests made of dust mice. So the better you sweep and vacuum, the less nesting material you are offering to pesky spirits, and the less likely they are to move in. When they're out and about, natural to the environment and the forest, they're not a problem any more than squirrels are. But if squirrels start nesting in your attic, they're going to tear up the wiring. So you don't want that. So feed them out at the end of the backyard. Do some song. Make offerings to the spirits. Give the house a good smudge. Any lineage. There are more extensive spirits in things involved in house blessings. Get a practicing shaman to do that. There's got to be a bunch of them around. I find here in the United States that many of the Native American shamans are excellent at working with the local spirits. But probably the best Tibetan lineage for shaman is either Nyingma or Bon, depending on what's available in your neighborhood, and very often, should you make a nice offering and request it, they will be happy to come and clean out your house. I don't mean get the dust mice, you do that. I mean chase the spirits out. The off-plane critters that may be nesting in your corners. I don't know who around here does that, but probably either the Geshe-la in Santa Cruz or Tenzin Wanzhou could refer you to someone who does that. In the area, there's probably someone who's trained. I know it's easy to get someone who does that when I'm out in Asia. Different people specialize in different kinds, and some work with your body and stuff stuck in your body, and others are good with the houses and I don't know who to refer to here. I tend to run a sage and juniper smudge through the house, give it a drip communication, get the dust mice out of the corners, and then make some song offerings outside. But then I like doing things the easy way. I'm very lazy.
索贝马的人们怎么样？他们是还在从新冠病毒里面隔离吗？拉玛雷娜说是的。
Yes. I have sent over a substantial offering to the local pharmacist who is supplying vitamin D, free masks, and free hand sanitizer, the vitamin D to all the elderly who don't get enough sun, because that may make a difference in how one survives or doesn't survive the virus. And the masks and sanitizer free to anyone who wants it in the whole town. I'm sponsoring that with those lovely offerings that you guys do with my
大家如果
PayPal
愿意
button.
捐赠的话，可以到拉玛雷娜的 PayPal 的账号里面去捐款。
And it's making a difference. Our yogis are mostly in retreat.
拉玛雷娜就是在当地。
The app is not reliable anymore that I use to communicate with them, and we're trying to switch ourselves from
拉玛雷娜
WeChat
是
to
在
WhatsApp.
和当地人联系，
But it's a
从微
little
信
difficult
转
not
到
being there
WhatsApp。
to make the switch, so my communication is not as direct as it
在
might be.
镇上
There's been one episode of the virus in town. Over at the Gurdwara on the other side of the lake, town is still pretty much
就
locked
是银行
down.
一周开一
I think the
天，
banks
农
open
贸
one
市
day a
场
week.
一
The
周开一
vegetable
天几
sellers are
天，多数
open
人都
for a few
在
hours
家
a
里。
day.
的
Most
计划就是还
everybody is
是
in
保
retreat
持居家。
and planning to stay that
我
way.
认为呢，
There's a few who seem to be headed towards Bodhgaya in the season, but I believe they are quite comfortable dying there. In fact, we had one last season who died there and sat Tudum for a long time. It even hit the Indian
就是在
newspapers.
盖亚这个地方，
Bodhgaya is an auspicious
有
place
一
to
些人
die,
选择
although
在这里过
personally
世
I。think one's own
但是呢
cave is a little bit nicer and more comfortable for the process.
多数的人
But to each his own.
仍然在
Most
居家
people are still
或者是在隐
pretty
修。
much in retreat. We're not coming together for talk. The Gompa has locked its gates, not letting the kids out. God, it must be a mess in there. They must be fighting something awful without anything else to get
就
out
人
and
们
do.
在努力的去
But
想象，他们
People are managing
有
as
这样
best
的
they can.
法，
They have the
他
Dharma.
们有
They
被
have
遮
a
盖的
shared
实相，
matrix of reality,
能够帮
which
助人
will
们
help
相对
them
的去
remain
看透这
relatively
一切。
sane
他
through
们有
this.
这样的
They have a paradigm of
也能够
retreat,
帮助他们
which will also help them
相对的去看透这一切。
remain relatively
跟
sane through
西
this.
方人不太一样，
Unlike
西方人多
Westerners,
数
who
在
most of whom seemed to have
怀疑
wandered
或者
off
是
into
持有一些
some
奇怪
really
的心灵系
weird
统，
radical belief
但
systems.
是这些
Without the interaction of continuous exchange of bacteria and ideas between each other, it's almost like everyone has now got their own
在西方我
individual
们有
reality that they're
很多
subscribing
的
to.
通
And
过
here in the
实
West, we
相
have
的
lost the agreed upon
观察。
reality that everyone was accustomed to, causing a great deal of dingy accidents and hallucinations and interactions and fights. Hopefully they're not having that problem too badly over there, since they do have a shared matrix to fall back on called Dharma. Let's have one or two more questions.
A couple of questions. How could I get an image of a gum tree to work from?
我怎么找
I
到一
believe I have a
个
photo somewhere of me in a
gum
gum
tree?
tree. I may even have one of my gum
Lama
tree
Lena
without me in it. I
在
will
gum
look
tree
for it
在做一
and
个
post
回
it
答。
on the Lena Farrell Facebook page.
问题，你今年要去走北马文？
Are you going to
拉玛雷娜说：“我
Sopima this
希
year?
望去。
I have an air
不知道
ticket. I
能不
hope
能
to.
成行。
But I don't know if it will be possible.
美
And
国现在是有
certainly
很
with
大的
America having the
病
highest
毒的
viral
问题，
count in the world, not comfortable risking my community by bringing the virus up
可能
there.
会在这个高
And
病
we'll
毒的
stay in a high
地
virus
区，可
area
能不能
rather
是去
than
危及其他人。
go there and risk anyone.
即使说
Even if I
我
just went
在
straight into retreat
我
in
的
my
山
cave,
洞
I
里
would have to
面，
pass
我也
through
得穿过
town.
几个
I would be
镇，
exposing a taxi
所
driver.
以
And there you have it. How many people would he expose?
所以我不知道，
So
我买
don't
了
know.
可以退款的
I
票，
got refundable
现在是
tickets.
说不要过去，
Right now they're saying over there, don't come. If it's still like
不要
this,
不要
don't
穿过
come.
德
It's
里
too dangerous for you to pass through Delhi.
去你的山洞，
And
因为
up to your
太有
cave.
风险了，所以我觉
Too
得
much risk. And my
如果
thought
我
is,
有风险，
well,
我也
if
会
I'm
给
at
其他
risk,
人带
I'm
来
putting
风
them
险，
at
所以咱
risk.
们
So
看
we'll
吧，
see. Let's wait. I'm
到
not
了
scheduled
9
to
月
go till mid-September.
看
And by
事情
then,
怎么发展。
things will have clarified, or they wouldn't.
有可能，
It is possible to
你有
live
可
with
能
complete
和未
uncertainty.
知、完全的未
You
知共同
actually
生
do
存，
your
你有可
lying
能
to
和完
yourself
全的未
when
知
you
共
make
存。
pretend certainties.
你也不知道你明天是不是还活着，
You don't even know if you'll be
你
alive.
不能知道的，你不可能知道的。我的修行
Next.
Will my
影响了我的
practice
父母，
influence also
我的
the
修
mind
我的
of
修
my
行也
parents
会影
and
响我的
children?
父母和孩子吗？我们
Absolutely.
说
We are
当然，
not
我们不是独立
singularities.
存
We
在的
are
个
not
体，你
independently
完全的
existent
和
entities.
其
You are
他的
utterly
那个
connected
联系
with
共存
all
的。
your
我们
relations.
常常呢在
We
思想的
often,
说法
in
里
Tibetan letter
我会
writing,
说
will say,
你
may
和
you
祝你
and
的
your
和你的
relations thrive.
联系的人都成功。
Your
所以你和你
relations
的
are
关
all
系和
your
你有关系
karmic
的人，包括你
interconnections,
的父母、
including
你
your
的孩
parents, your
子，
children,
包括
and
你
the
从他
guy
那里
you
买菜
bought
的
the
人，
vegetables
所
from.
有你和你的有关系的人，
All of which affects
这
you,
些都会改变
influences
你，
you,
你也反过来
changes
可以
you
影响他们。这是持续性的一个影
continuously.
响。这种
There's
改
nobody
变，
in there changing.
改变是
There
持
is
久的，
only the
没
change.
有一个特定的事物。
No things that change.
最后一个问题，
Give me one more.
How to overcome resistance to study and practice?
如何
Outstubborn
克服
yourself.
对学习的抗拒
？Since your
你自己不要太
resistance will have a
倔强。
certain amount of stubbornness,
如果
but
因为你
because
自
it is
己
your
的倔
resistance,
强
it
而
can
不
only
学
have
习，那
whatever
就
amount
是
of
说你
stubbornness
自
is
己有一
natural
种内
to
在的
you.
倔强。
You should
那
be
你
able,
应
by
该
pulling on all of your
让自己不再
stubbornness,
那么
to
倔
simply
强。
outstubborn yourself
在
and do
一
it
段时
anyway.
间以后呢，
After a
你就
while,
会觉得，它非常的感觉非常好。在练习了一段时间以后
after a
呢，
while of
当你
practicing, once
是
you
比
get
较擅
good
长
at
这个
it,
修行了以后，它会变成一种很自然的
it
事
will
物，
become
因为
natural
不会
because
再
there
有
is
一个
no
你。
you there,
在那里。
unchangeable
所以
and
非常简
static.
单的，你就
So
选
simply
择
by
做
choosing,
一个
making a
决定，
decision,
然
and
后
then
非常决
stubbornly
定、非常
following
倔
through
强的
on it,
去
whether you feel like it or
执行
not,
你的选
you
择，
will
你会改变你这
change
个人的，
who you are to be one who
你会
does
变
that.
成就是你会能够改
So
变
in
自己。
those times,
所以你要记得，
and
不要
remember,
试
don't try
着
to be
去变得完
perfect.
美
80-20.
要记住82原则，
Succeed 80% of
把
the
你的
time
这
and
个80%
forgive
的时间
yourself
放
for
在
the
能
other
够产生
20%.
把
Attempted perfection is
产生最大
futile.
效益。就是 Lama Lena 在讲这
Doesn't
个82原则
happen other than the innate and natural perfection which is at all times and on all occasions utterly and ineffably obviously present. But your little idea of what would be perfect, put it down. You can't.
所以如果你
So if you
能够
manage
去让自
to
己超越了
outstubborn
倔强
yourself into practicing
80%
80% of the
的时
time,
间
you're
就是
doing
说
fine.
80%的时间你做
Just
得好
keep
的话
going.
就很不错了。
Anything else that seems really relevant that I really should answer?
Yes, this question. As a student of yours, how should we understand and speak about the lineage we are part of? I.e., Dujum Tersar, Drukpa Kagyu.
How you should speak about it with kindness and some reverence, rather than
就
with
是说 Lama
complaint
Lena
and
有很
grouchiness.
广阔的传承和
That's
学
easy.
习。
I'm not sure that's what you meant, however.
They might have meant more about the terminology.
What is its name? I am Rime. That means I practice a wide variety of lineages and don't see a whole lot of difference in where they all go
就是
to.
说学习多少个传承呢，是一个自己的决定。
You are practicing
这个
whichever
传
subset
承
you
我
happen
做
to
的
think
传
you're
承呢，
practicing, or you can think of yourself as
是
Rime,
本质上
practicing more
是
than one. That would be an individual decision.
宁玛和格鲁巴。就是说我
The
自修
lineage
行
prayer I
宁玛
do
派也修
is
行格鲁派。
Nyingma,
有的时候呢，
primarily Nyingma and a little bit of
我
Kargyu,
教
but
授
it's
格
also
鲁
got
的，
Gelugpa and
然后
Bon and a few
Lama Lena
others
也
in
教格
there.
鲁。
Because I follow all of those. I've had teachings in all of those, and they all go to the same place.
有的人是不是被卡住了呢？就是根据学者的这个学员的情况嘛，因材施教。
It's the best one I've seen to get people over
Rime
this
是一个
particular hump.
简单的教
Sometimes a
授是可
Kargyu
以
or a Nyingma practice. It just depends on where somebody's stuck and what I'm trying to help them climb over. So, Rime is a nice catch-all term, and it's easy to remember. Anything else that looks like I really should address it this morning?
Let me just do a quick run through.
Do a quick run-through.
你能够告诉一个人他应该用什么样的程序和方式来连接到他的直觉，当他要做一个重要的抉择的时候，就是在做重要抉择的时候，怎么做啊？怎么
Could
联
you
系到自己
recommend
的
any
直觉？
process or practice to help one get
Lena
in touch
说
with one's
思考。
intuition when having to make an
思考。
important decision?
可是有的人呢，是想有一个
Thinking.
模式，但是Lama Lena
Some
觉
people
得
like to find an
有
expert
用的
and
把
have a
直
mode
觉
done.
放到工作里，
It's hard to do
是
a
首
mode for
先
yourself.
去
Your
逻
shadow
辑性
falls
的去
upon
思
it.
考这个问题。有的时候，
However,
把它写在纸上，然后写出它的优点和缺
what
点。
I have
当
found
你通过逻
useful
辑性
to
做完它
allow
了以后呢，
intuition
你把
to
它
work
放下，
is
然后
to
你去
first
感觉它，
logically
你去感受你怎么
address
你
the
对这个问题
problem,
有什么样的
sometimes
感觉。
with,
当你做完以
a
后，
pencil
你
and
把
a
这个感
paper
觉
and
再
pros
放
and
下，
cons.
那你把这两个
Having
都
done
做
that
下，
logically,
做完了
put
以
that
后呢，你把整
down
个问题都放下，
and
然后
feel
用这
around
个
for
大圆
how
满的
I
方式做下。
feel about that. Having done that,
用正确的
put
方式，
that down.
甚至
Having done both
在
of
一
those,
天之
put
内
the
就不要再
entire
想这个问
question
题，
down
然后
and sit.
看一看这个
Dzogchen.
问题能不能自己澄清自己。
Trekcha. And don't even
这个
poke at
就
the
是我觉
question
得有
again
用
for
的
24
方
hours
式之一。我首先用
and then
智
look and
智
see
力
if the
和
matter has
感受
clarified itself.
去做这个问题，然后呢，我们就把这个两者都放下，然后去坐下，
That's
静静的
one
坐下，
method
然
that
后把
I
这个问
find
题本身
useful.
也放下。
I pacify the intellect and the
有些
feelings
人
first
是
because otherwise they're going to interfere.
嗯，
And feeling that I've completed that process, I can let it go and just sit and not poke at it
就是 Lama Lena 在说一个不太正确的做决定的方式。
Some people say contemplate once
就
while
是有
drunk
的
and
人
once
会
while sober.
喝一些酒需要去做决
And if you get the
定，有的人会
same
清醒的
answer,
时候做
it's
决定，
obvious.
但是
But
会
if you
出现
get
一个
opposite answers,
做的两个决定相反的情况，所以不是很推荐这种方式。
I've never found that
很
one
多的
particularly
西藏人
effective.
呢会联系
I always decide I like the answer when
预
I was
言者
drunk
或者
better
是
and
先知
decide to
者，
go with that,
请他们做一个占卜，
which doesn't always do well.
然后呢，通过这种
Most
占卜的方式，
Tibetans will
来
contact
做决定。
someone who is known as an oracle and have them do a mo.
这是很多西藏人经常做的事情啊。
And
说实话
use
呢，
that
Lama Lena 觉得
to make a decision.
把它放在一边，然后完全去不想它，然后只是做冥想，然后在自己的自然本觉里面休息，也会让事情
Frankly,
变
I
得
find
对我来说更加的清
Poking
晰。
at it a lot and then
但是
completely
我给
stopping
了
thinking
你
about it for a
几种方
while
法，
and just meditating and resting in open awareness will
你找一
often
种自
cause
己觉得
lines to
最有
shift
效
and
的方
things to
法。
become more obvious for me. But I've given you several methods here.
你说人们可以投身到不同的道，
See which one works for
有的是
you.
投身到天道，但是不满足。Donald Trump 这特朗普总统是从哪一道来
You
的？
talk about people being born into different realms, such
是
as the God
从这个
and never
苏
being
尔道来
satisfied.
的。
What realm is Donald Trump from?
他可能是阿修罗道来的。
Asura.
就是他可能也有过人道或畜生道，但
He
是
is
他
in
这
the human realm,
非常明确的显现了
or
阿修罗道
maybe。the animal realm in this
所有的
life.
事情都
But
是赢或者是输。
he is functioning
他
on the
赢的时候
level
不
of an
高兴，
asura.
输了的时
They're
候就愤怒。
insanely competitive. Everything is
他们
winning and losing.
他没有慈悲心，所以我认为他在功能性上
They're
是
incredibly high and
从
happy
一
when
个
they're winning
畜生或者是阿修
and
罗道来
devastated
的。
when they're
他
losing
甚至
and
都不会
can't.
说是有足够的思想能力
They
去
lack
被
compassion.
认为是一个完全的
So
人
I'd
类，
say he's functionally somewhere in the animal
没有办法
asura
用语言
range.
去完整的表达一个
He
概
isn't
念。
able to think well enough to
我
be
从来
considered
没有
fully
听
human,
过他能够很好的去表达一个观
which
念，
requires
所
an
以我认为
ability
他
to
是
juggle
从
and
畜生或者是阿修
verbally
罗道来的，但
express
是我并不
abstract
是
concepts,
畜生和阿修罗道来的，但是
which I've
我不知
never
道啊，
actually heard
我
him do really
我怎么
well.
能知道呢？你在哪个道上来的？
So those
动物
would
吗？
be my assessments, but
只是为
I
了生
don't
命吗
really？
只是为
know.
了生存吗？
I don't know if he
非常有
knows.
竞争性的阿修罗吗？
What realm
不
are
满
you
足的
living
轨
in?
道呢？
Animal? Base survival?
这个六道是
Competitive asura?
模式，但是他们也是位置。
Unsatisfied ghost?
是习性、习气，
The realms are
也包括了
moods, but they are also places.
也包括了净光的火光，
Flavors.
它时时刻刻的象征着
And
法性的觉悟，
the sparkle of the clear light nature.
顺其自然，让
Fresh
它去吧。
fuel for the Dharmakaya awareness.
把你头脑中的那个信仰的中心，在你曼陀罗中心的那个信仰系统，让它走吧，放松，
Of your
放松到一个开放的觉悟、觉知里面，
at the center of your
所
mandala.
有的问题
Relax
都是光的，都是光
into open
火光的
awareness.
跳舞，内在的宇宙的内在的生命力
Are the dance of
超越
sparkles.
提供了广大的
All
开
the
放性。
answers are no
它是有生命的。这种生命性，这种生命性给了整全的舞台啊，让这种想法、感受是能够存在。没有任何一种想法、感受或者是外界的现象具有一种特定的内在实体。所以你要自己去看到这种事情，而不是说听我的话去根据我的话去相信这个事情。你要自己去证得这个事情，用自己的头脑去观察自己的头脑，就是这样而已。愿我将所有和我有关系的生命送到无限之中，送到觉知的休息之中，送到心性休息之中。对你们之中的这些希望为我提供供养的人，你们可以去我的网站有一个 PayPal 的账号。如果有任何一个人希望希望和这个其中的我希望和一位和一位僧人一起去练习，你也可以到网站上找到这个相关的信息。你也可以你可以给我发邮件就是和这个 Yogi 修行人一起修行就是喇嘛雷娜在提供这个结识修行人和喇嘛雷娜和这个你之间的一个机会愿意的话可以给喇嘛雷娜写邮件。好，今天的这个在线教授就完成了。